Hi, I'm Jody Mack, and I'm the author of Assured, How to Overcome Others' Jealousy and the Imposter Syndrome. And I am been in Las Vegas for about 20, 30 years. I'm not going to actually say, but I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, J Haleem. Thank you so much for tapping in with your boy in the studio with J Haleem podcast. I want you to subscribe to the YouTube page, click the notification bell so that we can continue to send you this stuff. We want you to be a part of the community. So definitely today, go ahead and subscribe to the page. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, J Haleem. We are back in the studio one more time. Super excited to have this lovely young lady here with me. I think she's going to teach us some things. As I tell y'all all the time, we keep upgrading. We keep bringing quality people from the Valley into the studio, and we did not slip this week. So thank you so much, and I want you guys to give a warm welcome to the lovely and talented Jody Mack.
Hi, Jay. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. As I said, you're upgrading. You're looking beautiful and
thank you.
Matching my colors and everything like that. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is definitely an upgrade. You got the visual upgrade, you guys. Now we about to start getting into this intellectual conversation. We about to be doing some things right here. I was excited when my team brought me to you.
Thank you.
Or brought you to me and vice versa. Brought us together because they said, hey, you got to talk to this woman here. And I'm an author. Written 4 books, and it talk about your book. I'm a geek. I didn't know I was a geek. I didn't know I was a book geek. My producer Tamika, she's the book specialist, and I used to we argued so much when we was doing my first book, and nobody would ever believe that I love authors and love books so much like I do now. So I said we definitely got to talk to her. So again, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here. I'm honored. Thank you.
Oh my God, you're doing us an honor. I promise you are. And we're going to make you family before you leave.
Oh, I love that.
You'll be a part of the
Yay.
family. So again, before you became an author and doing all this rock star things, where are you from originally?
I'm from a little town in New York called Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And great little town to grow up in, especially in the disco era.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And from there, I became a news anchor very early on in my career, and I then moved to Rochester, and then from there I was down to Fort Myers Beach, Florida, then to Kansas City, and then I ended up here.
All the cold.
Yes.
All the cold, so you can handle it. You just said, forget this. I'm going to throw away all the cold. I did all my cold. Now I'm coming to Vegas. Yeah. I don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Exactly.
So you said you jumped into news. Is that what you wanted to do when you were going to school immediately? Like as a kid, you talking about going to be in the news?
Yeah, I was always the clown, the person who always got the attention. I was entertaining, and so I wanted to do something where I could blend that entenment with some on-air.
It wasn't a supermodel thing, because in that era, it's like you're the person who walking through the mall that somebody would say, "I can make you a star."
That's right, walking through the mall, and people would hand out their card.
Yeah,
I had one person do that to me in Buffalo, but no, that wasn't my end-all dream desire. It was really to deliver the news. I used to love watching WKBW in Buffalo, and there was an old news anchor.
That's a real thing?
Yeah.
Because I watched Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty.
And he says WKBW. I didn't know that was a real thing.
That's
something
real, yeah, Channel 7.
So that shows you I'm a movie nerd too. So there that goes. I'm like, that's a real station.
There was a news anchor. His name was Irv Weinstein. He's an icon. And he used to always say at 11 o'clock at night, if you stayed up that late and watched the news, he'd say, "And do you know where your children are?"
Yeah.
and it just stuck with me my whole life. And so I went down that path as that. And then eventually married a city councilman here in town, Michael Mack.
Okay.
And after that, had 2 children. And then I didn't want to go back into the news business because I was doing the morning news.
Okay.
And it was too early. Get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get to the set by 5.
I heard the stories. I heard the horror stories.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back a little bit. Okay. So you're doing the news. And well, before you went to do the news, going off to college. What college did you go to?
I went to a business school called Bryant and Stratton.
Okay, where's that at?
Downtown Buffalo.
Oh, okay, so you just was in Buffalo.
No, I was in Buffalo. I was a Buffalo girl.
Are you a Bills fan?
I am.
Okay.
I love Josh Allen.
Okay. You guys got to get there now. Now I don't have no beef with Buffalo, but I'm a Niners fan.
Okay.
So we would have to play you guys
in
the Super Bowl if we all went. I was rooting for you guys the 4 times that you guys went and lost back in the 90s.
With
Norwood. Is he allowed back in the city, Scott Norwood?
I don't know. I left when I was a young girl, but I remember making it to the Super Bowl, and we were like, "Come on, you can do it," and we just never did it, and got there several times. Yeah, and we almost got there. Didn't we just almost get there?
Yeah, recently. Yeah. I want it for if we're not in the Super Bowl, I don't mind rooting for you guys. And the sad part, I got a good friend who's a big time Buffalo Bills fan. He's from Brooklyn. He's not from Buffalo. But he makes people want to hate the Bills. He's one of those type of fans. But no, I am actually secretly rooting for you guys if we're not there because I wanted you guys to win in the 90s. I don't like the Giants, even though I grew up in the New York area. I don't like the Cowboys. So y'all lost to them 2 times the Cowboys and once to the Giants. I was rooting for you guys. And I said, don't ever let Scott Norwood back in that city. I looked him up. I said, he's doing real estate or something like that in Virginia. I said, he can never go back to Buffalo. They'll probably hold him hostage because it was right there like a 26-yard field goal that he missed.
I know.
Against the Giants.
Just sad. But I don't know. I think Josh Allen really has a good chance. He's really dedicated.
Good.
There's so many great athletes in the league, but I think he has a good chance. I love Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
For the longest time because I lived in Kansas
he's
City.
a good player, but he beat my Niners, so.
So we don't
he's
like
all right.
him anymore.
He's all right. He's a good player.
So I don't know. I think every year I hope that the Bills have a chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you left college, it was just like, hey, I'm going straight. You went to a business school. So if I was a business person, get on TV?
Well, funny enough, I was also selling real estate.
Okay.
For a company in Buffalo, and they started a show very long time ago. It was called the Sunday Showcase of Homes.
Okay.
And we would take pictures of homes with a fisheye lens.
Oh, wow.
And we would create this beautiful view, and then we would marry all of the photographs together and put a jazz sound bed underneath, and then a narration. And we created this show. Steve Satterwhite was the founder. He's the one who came up with the concept. And we started producing those shows across the country. And at some point, I was in Kansas City producing the Kansas City show, and I met my first husband, and I moved to Kansas City, and then I started anchoring, and I had done some other anchoring, but I was also producing, so it was kind of a mixture. And then came out to Las Vegas, started working with R&R Advertising, and from there I went to KVBC.
I don't want you to rush through and we're not going nowhere. I want them to get to know you.
Yeah.
I want them to know you.
Okay.
And because I read about you, I know you consult, you help individuals, but most of the time they don't ask you these questions.
No.
They don't talk about the woman. They want to know
the
how you
upbringing.
can help them, how you can make their life better, how you can make their business better, their career better.
Sure.
And so part of what we do here is, I want them to know the people. 95% of the time, I can say 99% of the time, you're going to tell us something that nobody else ever got that information, and we want that exclusive.
Okay.
We want that exclusive. So we don't want to. We're gonna get you. We're gonna bring you right here to Vegas because you are here with us. But we want to hear how the journey happened. Like what was going through. What were some of the decisions you had to make? To say why I wanted to go on the news, and like you say, a real estate agent. you didn't stay doing real estate. You know, I mean, everybody thinks that can be the one to take them out there to be a millionaire or something like that.
Sure.
What made you say, I'm done with that?
Well, it was because we started that program that got me. I was interning at WKBW.
Oh, at the same time.
And yes, and school. And then I started, thinking maybe real estate might be something I would like to do.
Yeah.
Started doing that, and that's when I was asked to produce the show with Steve Satterwhite, and then we syndicated it. So that journey took me. It was to make money.
That's
right?
a crazy journey, because again, you're going in with one idea,
right?
And they say no, we're going to, and then here you are cutting up shows.
Right.
Did you have any experience? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you have any experience like doing those type of, because slideshows weren't that easy back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. So
slideshows.
I mean, because basically that's what they would call it now.
Yeah, that's what they would.
But you had to do some work. You was just shooting with a fisheye lens, and then you had to look. That's not easy. None of this stuff was easy. You actually had to have skills to do that stuff. So
you had to be able to write, because you had to be able to describe what you were seeing.
Exactly.
To make people who are watching the show think, maybe this is a house I want to go and visit and see in an open house.
So I imagine you were on camera as opposed to like behind the scenes.
I did part of the intro of each show.
How long did it go for?
I went, I think, a good 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, and it went across half of the country. I think we got as far as like Kansas City. And then newer technology came in, and somebody came along and said they could do it better, bigger, faster. And then a lot of the real estate agents, the people that own those companies, were going with them.
Okay.
To start that concept, and it died out.
Okay, but by this time you were already on the news and doing your own thing.
By that time, because I had left.
Yeah, so you were already on the news doing your own thing. And so when you saw that shift, or heard about it, what was your thoughts? Because like, hey, I was the one who started this stuff.
Well, I didn't know that it had gone under many years later.
Okay.
I didn't keep up with that. I had moved on in a different direction. And I actually started producing television commercials.
Really?
Yeah. So I loved the whole industry of being in front of the camera, behind the camera. I got into movies.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I worked on a few movies. Stephen King's, sometimes they come back. I was one of the shows. And then Article 99, which didn't do very well. That was a Howie Deutsch film.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun in Kansas City. But I did a lot of television commercials for Walmart, for Discover, for Primera Bank, for just all the different local and some national commercials, which was a lot of fun. I produced those.
So which one you like, on camera or behind the camera? Which one? In front or behind? Which one you prefer?
Well, I think I like both. I do. I used to love being, if the grips were there and they were putting up the equipment, or the gaffers were working on the lighting, or the director of photography was saying, okay, we have to do so-and-so, measure, figure out what he had to do. It was always fascinating to me. And then working, I became a first AD at one point, working on one of these movies, and worked with some fun actors. Leo Burmester, who was in the movie The Abyss, I think. He was great. He was the cowboy in it.
That was a good movie.
He was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then I worked with what's his name? Sutherland. Oh wow!
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Ray Liotta, before Ray Liotta passed.
These are some heavy hitters.
They were fun.
Yeah, these are some heavy hitters.
They were fun.
And this was while you were in Kansas City.
In Kansas City, yeah.
What is going on in Kansas City outside of the barbecue that got all these heavy hitters
barbecue.
there? Great barbecue.
I think it was just they needed a hospital for the shoot for the Article 99, and they happened to find one that was closed. It was no longer in service, so we made it look like it was operational for the shoot, and they had to drive a car through the front. I mean, it was yeah. So I think that's why they came to Kansas City for that.
To tear up stuff and then leave, right? Leave them with a check here. Y'all go fix that. Figure out how to fix that. But that's education, and I love that because people don't know how much goes into making these movies. Not just the money, but again, location, finding the location. That's what I said immediately. What were they doing in Kansas City?
They had to scout that location for sure.
That was a long way from LA. And then back in the day, most of the stuff was shot in California.
Right.
You know, unless it was a real period piece or somewhere like, okay, it has to be in this part of the country or the world.
Sure.
That's what made me fall in love with California. You know, I didn't end up living there, but I'm close enough.
Oh, I love California.
But watching everything on TV, on it was something in San Francisco, it was something in Beverly Hills, or this part of California, the Valley, San Diego, something like that.
Yeah,
and
all
I'm
the
like,
shows. The backdrop was always the nice house, the good weather.
Yeah, exactly.
For Buffalo, New York, you're looking and saying, God, I want to live out there. So I moved out west.
And me in Newark, New Jersey, same thing. I'm like, I need to go out there. And I just thought it was just the most phenomenal thing. That's why I'm like, knowing like, oh, well, they had to really go over here to go to Kansas City. So you're there just minding your business, doing your work. And then they show up and say, hey, how did that work? How did you get into that with the movies being in Kansas City? What was the connection from the news to the movies?
Well, I had just started winding down the news, and I started in production. So I was doing a lot of television commercials, and I was very familiar with the Film Commission.
Okay.
And so when they had a show, a movie, something that was coming into town, we would hear about it.
Okay.
And so at that point in time, because I was producing commercials, I started working on as assistant producer or production assistant on some of the movies. So I started working on a few and then would move up, and it was a lot of fun because film crews really become family. You're on location for quite some time. Every day you see each other. You're in that space together for a long periods of time, and so you get close. Everybody becomes close.
So did you start your own firm doing the production, or you went to work with another firm?
I worked, I'm trying to think of who the gentleman I worked for. Wonderful director. I worked as an assistant under him, and so we worked on lots of television commercials and movies. But then I left in 1990 and came to Las Vegas.
Wow.
So
it's a different place now.
Well, it was black ice in the wintertime in Kansas City, and the winds, and not that we don't have wind here, but I just thought
it's nothing like Kansas City.
I had a brother who lived out here, and so I thought I'm going to go visit him, and then I'm going to go on to LA because I really wanted to get in the film industry because, as you said, that's where it was. Now it's Nashville. Now it's Austin, Texas. It's all over.
Yeah.
So I was gonna come here, visit for a little while, see some friends because a lot of people from my hometown had moved out to Las Vegas.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
From Buffalo?
Yes. I hate to say it, but the telemarketing industry was big out here. And some of the people from my hometown had gotten into that, unfortunately. But there were a lot of friends that I knew or people that I had grown up with were out here. So that's what made me come to Las Vegas.
Okay.
And then I met Don Turley, who is in charge of production for all of R&R advertising, which is what is known in the day. It's now R&R Partners.
Okay.
And they did everything from the political landscape to just about anything, any kind of commercials, but higher end. And he hired me. He said, "Hey, why don't you come and be my producer?" And so I worked with him.
Buffalo West now. Listen, we're in Buffalo West now, you guys. So just know that's what we're going to call this for the rest of this interview. Again, everybody felt like this is just a stopover. I've talked to plenty of people. Hey. I went to LA and I planned on staying there, but then I came to Vegas to visit, or I came to Vegas. I didn't plan on doing that. I'm from Detroit. I came to Vegas. I was just going to go to LA, but just get my money together. And then they just been here.
Yeah.
This is a different city all these years later.
Listen, in the 90s, I think this coming west, Buffalo or Durango, or I think Durango Angel Park was the end, and then it was desert. And now look where we are.
Wow,
30-something years later, it's fantastic. I mean, what a city.
And yes. Thank you guys for welcoming me and mine into the city, because it's been phenomenal this last few years being here. So getting here, taking that job, what did you love the most about Vegas once you said, "Hey, I'm going to stay here"?
Jay, I've always said that Vegas has been wonderful to me in business. I've always had good jobs, great people, and I've always felt very welcome. It always felt like it was my second home.
Okay.
And that's why I didn't leave. I just love Las Vegas. Now, my husband, he's from Chicago, lived in San
All the
Francisco.
cold. Did you guys argue about which one is colder? Buffalo,
He hates
lake
the cold.
effect. You know?
But he, when he moved to Las Vegas, he's like, wow, I don't know if I really like it here, but there's no water.
And no water.
I mean, they're at Lake Mead. We had
Yeah.
Lake Mead. When I first came here, we were sailing out on Lake Mead and
Okay.
boating, and it was just lots of fun.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, weather has changed that a little bit. But it's just always been a great city for me. I've never starved. Right?
If you guys pay attention to me, you know that I won't starve means something.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
I
right.
won't starve means something. So when you got here, you started working. What was one of the first jobs that you had? Not the job, but like one of the first projects that you worked on. They just throw you out there, or did you have to?
No, one of the first ones that I remember was the Forum shops at Caesars.
Okay.
And we thought it was fascinating because they were able to change the ceiling from night to day.
Okay.
And, as a film crew, and we were creating a commercial to advertise the Forum shops. And after about 12 hours of night and day, 6 or 7 times, you're like, okay, maybe we don't want to stay a whole day in here. But that was a lot of fun. It was a great shoot. We got to visit, back in the day, Spago's was a big
I
restaurant.
heard of that.
A lot of people used to come. The Palms, I think it was the Palms, before the Palms Hotel, was another great restaurant. And it was just a lot of fun, a lot of great celebrities. I've met some absolutely fantastic people here working through R&R. Claudia Williams, she owned Harrah's Hotel.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little story about Claudia.
Please.
We were shooting something for the Las Vegas Visitors Convention, and she was talking about how wonderful that Las Vegas is. And right before we were getting ready to film her, she said, just a minute. And she was in a green outfit, and she had on red glasses. And she opened up her drawer, and she put her red glasses in, and she put on her matching green glasses that matched her green shoes, that matched her green bag. And I thought, wow, I had never seen anybody that was so fashion conscientious before. And I thought, this woman is something.
Yeah.
And I just admired her forever. So yeah, she and Lorraine Hunt, who was our, she was our AG.
Okay.
I can't remember what that stands for anymore, but the governor's, second to the governor. So yeah, but there's some wonderful people. Elaine Wynn, Poonam. I can't think of her last name either. God, old age is tough, isn't it?
No one will believe that. I mean, you throwing out these numbers like 1990 and all these things in 30 years. Nobody's going to believe that.
Wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful city. And that's why when you asked me the question of, what do I really love about Las Vegas and what made me stay here, it was just the people, the environment, the weather, and look at the city it's grown into.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, even just in the last few years that I've been here, you start to see the things happening, and Tropicana's gone now, but it's getting prepared for this big old baseball stadium, and then talk about basketball coming and things of that nature. So you decided to create this phenomenal consulting firm that you have.
Oh, thank you. Well, I got to tell you what it started from.
Okay.
So you get the backstory.
Yes, please.
From production, from the news, when I met my husband, Michael, my ex-husband, we had gotten divorced after 5 or 6 years, and I was raising 2 kids on my own. I couldn't go back into the news industry because I didn't want to have somebody living in my house with me to watch my kids if I left at 5 a.m. And so I thought, I'm not going to go into that industry. So I started going into corporate business. And I worked for several different corporations. And through those corporations, I came across issues that I hadn't experienced before. And I'll share with you some of those issues.
Yeah.
And I got to a point about 10 years in, and I looked at I called who's my husband now. So maybe it's a few more years in. And I said, how do I deal with this? And he's an ex-Green Beret.
Okay.
And he said, look, if you want to be prepared for dealing with these incidents that are happening in business and the people that are making you uncomfortable, you have to be prepared. What we do in the Army is we have these drills. So if the bad guy's coming over the hill on the right, we know exactly what we're going to do. If the bad guy's coming over the hill on the left, we know exactly what we're going to do. And they practice these drills before they go out into the field.
Yeah.
Unlike being in the work environment and having somebody walk up to you and say, wow, what you really did in there wasn't really cool, or I'm not sure you're really doing your job to the best of your ability. And you're taken aback because this person is accosting me. Why are they doing this to me? And you don't have the answer.
Yeah.
And so, I'd find myself laying in bed at night after somebody said something untoward to me, or somebody did something like maybe steal an idea, or maybe they sabotaged me in the newsroom. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. and so I was like, what do I do? I'm laying in bed at night and I'm thinking, okay, if this happens again, how will I handle it? And you replay it over and over in your mind. It's almost like a song that you can't get out of your head. And then you come up with the perfect answer.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I would have said to that person. And then, the moment's gone because
it might not happen, at least not that way.
Not that way. So you're not really prepared. So he said, you have to have these drills. And so that's why I started writing about the stories that had happened to me in the workplace that were uncomfortable. And I thought other women, other people need to know about how to do this so they can put up their own boundaries and protect themselves and still maintain confidence in the workplace. Because there are some workplaces that are toxic.
Yeah, I'm sure. A whole bunch of them.
I came across quite a few.
So some people would just say that that's just corporate America. You have to just deal with it. You have to suck it up. What do you say to that?
No, you don't. Actually, if you prepare yourself, let me give you something that has happened. I know it has. Will probably keep happening until women start to stand up for themselves. But I was in cybersecurity, and I was working for a company that represented IBM mainframes.
Okay.
And I was in Washington, D.C., and we were lobbying. And the owner of the company came with me. And we were lobbying to teach the senators and the representatives that they need to put some kind of regulation or guidelines or compliance in line so that they could protect their computer systems, because there were back doors into the mainframe. And that's what we knew about. And we wanted them to protect our infrastructure.
Yeah.
And so we go to dinner. And we have a wonderful, that day we had a wonderful time on the Hill. We talked to a lot of great senators, and people were receptive, and even got up to the Vivek Krishna, I can't remember Vivek's last name exactly. It's that age thing again. And we ended up, he understood, and he said, we're going to start working on this. So it was really great that we got that high. Up in the chain to cybersecurity, the people who are representing cybersecurity. Yeah. And we go to dinner to celebrate, and my boss has a few drinks. And, I'm in my hotel room, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm half in my pajamas, and I have a knock on the door. And it's like, hey, I need to talk to you. Open up, let me in. And I'm like, nobody needs to be coming in my room at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Why do you want to come in? And so I ended up making a recording, because we actually did have cell phones where we could record.
Yeah.
And I said, this is inappropriate. You can't do that. And I was freaked out the whole night, because I thought, am I going to get fired in the morning? That I just refused. He told me it was important. He made it seem like it was something that was business related, but I was very uncomfortable letting somebody in my room at that hour. So that was hard for me. And so I know that other people have come across this. I've talked to many other people, and it's like, you know what? You have to be able to say the right thing, stand up for yourself, and take the right action.
So was it actually business related, but him just doing that at inappropriate time, or was it something that you found he had inappropriate intention?
No, he actually said on the recording that, I don't care. I want to come in. Let me in.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, this can wait till morning if it's really business. No, let me in now. So that kind of told me that.
Yeah.
But that's just one thing. I mean, I've had several things. When I was a news anchor, I had somebody, when you're on the set and you're reading the news, there's a data prompter, a teleprompter, over the screen. It's a screen that allows you to read the words. And if the data prompter stops, you have your pages in front of you. You can look down to your stories.
Yeah.
And I had one particular girl who really wanted my job. She really wanted to be on air. So she came up with an idea to sabotage the data prompter by not rolling it. So she'd be in the middle, because you have to, at that time, you had to have somebody roll it for you. And they would speed it up with their wrist according to how you were delivering.
Yeah.
And she just stopped rolling it. And it happened several times. And I thought, okay. And we would always have, after the show, we would always have we'd talk about the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the news director, we'd all get together and we'd talk about it. Yeah, debrief. How was the show? Was it good? Was it bad? Did everybody do their part? And that's when I would say, hey, we got a problem with the data prompter. And my cameraman at the time, Wally, who I loved, said, he pulled me aside one day and he said, it's not the data prompter. It's Cheryl. I see her. She's just not turning the data prompter.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do at the time.
Yeah.
I know what I would do now. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, just little stories like that, or somebody leaving you off an email string, and then you're in sales. Another thing that happened to me. I was in corporate affairs, and I was on an email string with a very important client, and then somebody who wanted the business in the company decided that to leave me off the email string, so I wasn't able to follow up, and we lost the client, and I was blamed. So have you ever heard of a book called The 48 Laws of Power?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Robert Greene.
Yep.
Okay. So I read that book somewhere around that 10, 15-year mark. It published 15 million copies.
Yeah.
It was written in 1998. And when I was reading the book, I was like, oh my God, people actually intentionally sabotage you.
Yeah.
People actually try to take credit for the work that you've done. People, want to crush their enemy. And these are some of the laws that I'm talking about. Like law number, I think it was law number 7 is make other people do the work for you and then
take the credit.
And that happened to me on a Monday morning. I'm in the conference room. We're talking about rolling out a product line, and I had emailed my boss on Friday a great presentation that I put together, a PowerPoint presentation. I thought it was great. And I'm 2 sips into my coffee, and I'm sitting at the conference table, and he comes in, and he's happy, and he goes up, and he says, I'm going to present to you my new idea. And he presents my presentation with his name on it. Like, purposely took my name off and put his name on it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like clenching my jaw and I'm thinking, do I say anything? Is that going to be too weird? And I didn't want to really cause problems. So I didn't say anything. And afterward, I walked out and I said, Joe, that was my presentation. Why didn't you tell everybody that was my presentation? He said, well, Jody, it just sounds better coming from me. And there's the book, law number 7. Take credit, have other people do the work, and you take the credit.
Yeah.
Crazy. And law number 3 is hide your intentions. That was the DC trip.
It's I always tell people, it seemed like corporate America kind of rivaled gangsters in the street, because the horror stories that I've seen and heard in that space, and then also one of the biggest things that bothers me the most is how they fire people.
Yeah.
Because, at least I said some people in the street will be responsible for taking care of somebody's family or helping them out. People are just like, bye, you're done, and don't know if they're going to ever get another job again in their life. And I'm like, that's kind of terrifying. But again, you still have people today, and you have families. This is generational, where they're telling you, like a dad would tell their son, well, you just have to deal with that. That's how work is. Or a mom would tell their daughter, that's how work is. So that mom would tell their daughter, that's just how the job is. And you have to, like what you just said about someone taking your work. In some situations, that's what it is. I mean, somebody else created something and the company took it. Mm-hmm. So you work for Google and you created some type of thing. They didn't give you any extra money because you created it. They paying you a salary you created underneath their dime or on their time, and they're gonna say, "Hey, Google created this, not John Smith, who was downstairs working on it." They're gonna say Google did it. So it's a dichotomy there. So we know what side you on, but what side do you say to the people that's on the other side? Just say, "This is just how the cookie crumbles. This is how it goes."
Yeah, put your big boy pants on, or suck it up, or whatever they say. It's that is not what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you some examples. And this is what my book is about. The book is Assured. And that's
don't skip to the book. I'm going to get to it. Don't skip to it. I'm coming around to it.
No, it's exactly the title. Mm-hmm. The title is you want to be assured. You want to know that what you're talking about and what you're going to say is going to put the right boundaries up and not allow people to just railroad you and just run you over, right? So you have to be able to stand up for yourself. And it's so important that you don't lose sight of that, because if you don't, then I guess you're going to have to put your big boy pants on and deal with it, because nobody else is going to deal with it. Nobody else is going to deal with it for you, is what I'm trying to say.
Is that the basis of your consulting when you consult other individuals?
So my consulting is cohorts.
Okay.
Cohorts. I have people call. We just had a situation last night, as a matter of fact, and I'll tell you about that one, which I think is really important. People will call, we'll set up a time, and we'll have one person will present their issue, their problem, and then we all talk about how we would handle it, and then we come up with a solution that they can use going forward. Yeah. So last night I had a call from somebody. This wasn't in a cohort. This was just like, hey, Jody, this is happening. I got 3 days to deal with this. What should I do? Basically, this person is been in a job for 13 years, and they have not had a raise. Their department had been dwindled down to 2 people from a 2 or 4 or 3 person team, and they still had to perform the same amount of work for no extra pay. We've heard the stories, and she had gone out and got another job, and she's going to get an offer soon. And she said, "Do I take the offer?" And I said, "Let me tell you a few things that you need to think about here. The first is, yes, the location is close. Yes, you've known those people for 13 years. You know the environment. You know the political landscape. You know the players. You know everything. But have they really valued you for the last 13 years? Yeah. You're not being paid what you think you should be paid, but you need to express to them now, and that's why you went and got another job offer, so you can leverage and make them pay you what you feel you're worth."
Okay.
But, okay, so let's say that you do that and you leverage them. You're not going to get that extra person coming in to help with the workload. You're still doing the work of 2 people. And what happens when you want another raise in 5 years? You're going to have to go find another job and waste somebody else. So you really need to think about your value. Do they value you? Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and say, "Look, okay, I have another offer. Unfortunately, I don't feel like this company has valued me at this point. You don't value my skill set. You don't value what I bring to the table. You haven't shown me that. So I think it's time to leave." Now, they can counter, of course, and they could say, "Well, we will offer you that." That's when you have to step up and say, "Well, not only are you going to offer me that, but I want more vacation. I want to make sure I have a pension. I want to make whatever it is that you want to have to make you feel secure in your job." But that's just one of so many stories I've heard from people who are just in these work environments where they're either having things happen to them or they're not being looked at with enough respect to say, hey, we need you here.
How do you help them with that? If they come to you, how do they
Well,
help
that's
them?
that's part of the cohorts,
Okay.
and of course, they can read the stories in my book. We're just getting ready. I released the book as an advanced author's copy because my publisher wanted me to. Let me back up a little bit. I wrote the book against 48 Rules of Power.
Oh, yeah?
So I took my personal stories of what happened to me, sprinkled them into each chapter. That's how I created the chapter. This is what happened to me in chapter 1. Starting from when I was a kid, maybe this, all the way up into the business. I added a little personal, all the way up to business. And I would have these stories, and here's what I did, and here's what I figured out, and here's what I did wrong. And then that's when I talked to my husband, Dorian, and I said, what do you do? Drills, you have to be prepared. And that's why I wrote the book, to give people the playbook. So we released the advanced author's copy, got that out there, a lot of traction on that. My publisher said, I need you to give an actual playbook. You have the book of, hey, here's what happened. Here's what we went through. Here's how you can combat some of those situations. But now I want a playbook of, here's exactly what you need to do with instruction.
Okay.
And so we're just finishing that second book that goes with the first book, and then we're going to launch the entire program, I guess you can say.
Okay.
But that's how I help people. Is we do cohorts where we talk about things, so it's communication, real-time communication, and then the playbook is going to be the thing that's really going to be able to support the book.
So where do you feel like the problem lies? Do you feel like the problem is with the employee or the employer?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yes. So the employee needs to know how to set boundaries when other employees or subordinates or supervisors, whoever is in the mix causing the friction, they need to be able to set their boundaries and say, for example, what I would say today to the boss who wanted to come into my room, I would have said 5 words. This is not acceptable. Or I would use a few words to basically say, this is not acceptable to me. And then immediately the next day, I would have written down what happened that night. And immediately the next day, I would have taken that to HR and say, this is what happened last night. And then I would have HR deal going forward with what the next steps would be.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared, you have to set your boundaries, and you have to have the confidence to do it because a lot of people are in fear of losing their jobs.
Yeah. That's
right? Got to pay
a healthy
bills.
fear.
Yeah,
healthy
right. It's a
fear.
healthy fear. I got to be able to put food on the table. That is what stops so many people from standing up. And you have to have the courage. You have to have the confidence. And that's what the book does. It gives you the words. It gives you the voice. They say to women, lean in, find your voice. Yes, you have to find your voice. And it has to come from having the courage. But you gain courage through repetition, through experience, through figuring out what you want to say before you have to say it, and then have that in your pocket prepared so that when somebody says something to you, you can say, excuse me, that's unacceptable. Or why don't we have a conversation about this when you're calm? Or because what happens is when somebody affronts you or attacks you, right? First thing that happens is your adrenaline goes off. You're kind of in shock. The frontal cortex disconnects from the back of the brain, and you can't really dig deep, come up with the answers. And so you're stunned. And people love to do that, stun them, so you have no retort whatsoever. And then, the next day, you're thinking about what I would have said to him, and it's too late. So this prepares you to be able to stand up for yourself and say what you need
when
to
did
say.
you write this book? When did you write it?
Before AI.
That's
Yes.
a good thing to say.
I wrote this book. I got to tell you, Jay, I started writing this book in 2010. And in 2015, I told my husband, it was 16, 17, because I got married in 2017. We were engaged. I kept saying, I'm writing this book. I'm started writing this book, and he turned to me and he said, "Would you shut up already and just write the book?" And I got so mad. I said, "I'm going to write the book." I wrote the book. I rewrote it 4 times, and after the 4th time, after you have to, and you reread it, and you go, "That doesn't make sense." You keep rereading. The difference between an author and a writer is the author presses publish, and you stop rewriting it.
You got that right.
Yeah, and so I finished the book, and then I didn't want to self-publish. I wanted to actually have a publisher, and so SV Books and Waterside are collaborating to help me roll the book out properly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
So, process of you getting the book out. You said it took some years. About the actual release year was what year?
I think it was released in 22. Can I cheat and look?
Yeah, go ahead.
But then I would need to, let's see. I see the ISBN number. Hang on. 2025. Is it 25? 2025. You need readers.
So 15 years. So
yeah, no.
What was preventing you from, as you said, press and publish?
It was that I kept reading it and I didn't like the flow. And then this chapter, I wanted to go into this thought. And so I had to just reorganize it. And the process of doing that is arduous. And I just kept reorganizing, reflowing. And then I finally found an editor who I really like. And she helped me make the book flow in a way that I thought connected.
Yeah.
And so there we have it. But it's a process. I kind of laugh when people say, "Oh, I'm writing a book," and I think you have no idea the amount of work that goes into it. But now people, my husband, he's in cybersecurity, and he uses all those AI things for fun. He wrote a book within 3 hours, and I got mad. And I said, "Wait, that's not fair. You had a machine write all your thoughts in your books." They're not very good books.
Yeah. Oh, you said that on camera. He's going to see this. He's going to see this.
Well, he didn't publish that one.
No, I look, I get it, especially as an author. And one of my books is a training manual.
Yeah.
I could have did that in AI. I mean, this is prior to anybody using AI.
Right.
Like that. They use it all the time now. AI was around, but it just wasn't using it like that. But when you're writing something from the heart, I don't think that applies. It shouldn't apply using AI. I mean, you can use AI from an assist perspective, but not the words that's coming from your heart. I'm not a fan of that, you know. So my 3 of my 4 books were those type of books, and it needed to be my words. AI couldn't tell you what was coming, because I know my last one, nobody could tell me anything. I was in a zone. I wrote that book in no time. It didn't take me a long time to put that book out, because I was just full, and it just all came out.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm not a fan of the AI thing, because I want it to help, but I don't want it to replace you, especially from an artist perspective. 100%. You know, artists are amazing humans, and I don't think what they bring to the table should ever be usurped by machines.
I agree. It's a helpful tool.
Yeah.
But like anything, you have to proofread it. You have to read it. You have to make sure that what it's trying to convey is actually, that's the context of what you want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of it to a point.
Yeah. Yeah, I just leave it out of my books. Look, I got stuff to do.
Because you want the heart.
Yeah, and I got something in my, it's my books come from me.
Yes.
I'm an author's author. So, but now, so you got it out. What happened on the release day when you released it? Because I know my first release, I slept for about 14 hours, literally.
Yeah, I believe it.
I crashed.
Yes.
And I slept for like 14 hours, probably the longest I've ever slept. For 14 hours, I was tired. I was worn out. Everything that was in me was out into that book. So what was it like for you when you released it?
Very similar. I remember writing it through COVID, and I remember just wanting to get it done because I wanted to prove to my husband that I just get it done, Jody. Come on.
Any motivation helps.
Anger really helped.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get it done. And I remember after I printed out the manuscript, and I handed it to him, and I said, "There it is." And I said, "And now I'm going to bed," because it's exhausting.
Yes, extremely.
Because, what else I found was having reread it and reread it. I went through all those stories again.
And those emotions.
And the emotions, and I thought, this is really hard because reliving it, the pain, because it was painful, and that to me was, when I read some other authors' books, I know that they're putting themselves in their stories, even if it's fiction.
Yeah.
I know that part of where they probably got their stories is from real life. And I'm thinking, wow, if they really lived through this, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
I can see
tough.
that.
But yeah, that's it. And I have to tell you, the next book that I've already written the first chapter, and that's published as a teaser for the next book, is called Astounded. And this is a book about personal relationships. A sister who's jealous of you, an aunt who's envious, a boyfriend who sabotages your relationship because he's having a relationship and he wants to accuse you of being the cheater when he's cheating. I mean, so now I'm writing the book in the personal.
It gets easier, doesn't it? It gets easier.
It does.
So let's talk. Now, is this book an acronym? Like the title is an acronym?
No, just the word.
Oh, okay. Because you ran it. Look, you got the 30-second pitch together. So I thought you were running off an acronym. So show the camera the book so you can see. So yeah. Now, Assured. Now, you said something a little while ago. You said so did you have Robert Greene's book out and you was like, okay, Law 1. And, what do you call yours?
But I am doing that in the playbook.
Okay.
And referencing those laws. But no, I wrote the book after I read the 48 laws, and I resonated with some of what they were doing. And I thought, wow, people are actually using these on me. And it was bothering me. And so I wrote my stories and what I did, but I had acid tested a lot of my proof. I would try what I thought would work on an employee who was causing me issues. And I would say, hey, can we sit down and talk about this? And I found out a lot of the suffering that other employees were having and projecting their problems on me was because they were having issues. One time somebody had lost a pet very dear to them, and they were having a really hard day, and they were angry. They were going through that, the phases of grief, and they were angry, and I just happened to be at the right place at the wrong place at the wrong time with this person, and they just threw up on me, not literally, but just threw up with their words, and they were on. And my initial reaction years before that would have been, who do you think you are? I mean, you can't talk. And I would have just gotten sassy back to him. And instead I was like, wow, it sounds to me like you're uncomfortable, or maybe I've done something to offend you. Can we sit down and have a conversation about that? Because I'd really like to try to understand, and used empathy. And it turned it around, and then they ended up, a few minutes later crying and actually telling me what the real problem was.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hidden. You don't know what the real problem is.
Yeah. I mean, the job landscape in corporate America, I mean, it's been some shifts, but what is one of the things you would tell people that's getting into corporate America right now? Because everybody's trying to run out. I mean, they ran out, you had a mass exodus, and now everybody's trying to come back. Then there's just so much stuff going on with that. But how would you tell somebody to navigate that? Because it's no longer people saying work this place for 40 years, 40 hours a week and get, your pension. People are moving jobs every 2 or 3 years. People are moving across the world now.
Yes.
Things like that. The landscape has changed. So what are you telling people about navigating the workspace nowadays?
When you're going to go into any kind of job, you have to know your skill set. You have to know your value, your worth. You have to know that the job that you're going to perform is something that's going to benefit the company, because obviously the company is interested in the bottom line. They want to make money. That's what they're in business for. So you have to show leadership that you have the skill sets, you have the knowledge, you have the education, the expertise to help move the company in the direction it wants to go. If you don't feel you have that, you need to really look at yourself and find where you're best suited.
Yeah.
And a lot of people run into jobs because they need money,
Yeah.
not just because,
That's a
and
bunch
they're
of them.
lucky enough to get hired.
Yeah.
But the problem is once you get hired, you have to prove yourself.
Yeah.
So you really have to be prepared going in. And if you are good and if you do have the skills, you have to let leadership know that they need to acknowledge that through compensating you properly. Because if you're going to help build the bottom line, share a little bit of that bottom line.
Yeah. And, I think that me personally, I believe that employees need to understand business more than just getting a job. For us, we were taught, you'll get a job and you'll just get a raise every year. And after a couple of years, you'll get a promotion and then you'll just be there. I mean, it seemed like it was seamless
Back then,
all those years ago
Yes.
when the parents are telling you that, and it's not anymore. And it's for years now, it hasn't been that way.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand business. And I always told people in my consulting, I was saying, you definitely have to learn how to be what's called the entrepreneur.
Right.
Because everybody, for me, I don't believe that everybody should be an entrepreneur, but you definitely should take that entrepreneurial spirit to your job and start understanding how they're renting your talent.
Right.
You have a talent, but people just think, they're supposed to hire me. I'm supposed to get paid. And I'm shocked that I'm no longer there at work. You don't provide value anymore. You're doing the same thing you've been doing for the last 5 years. Our bottom line hasn't grown because you're working here. It's stayed the same or going down. Mm-hmm. We have a young person just getting out of college right now that don't have kids and a husband and don't have a mortgage that would take $40,000, $50,000 less than you and bounce off the wall and work longer and will be happy to be here. Like this is business. Mm-hmm. And I can't say nobody, but people need to tell people that even if you're going to get a job somewhere, understand the business. If you're going into cybersecurity, how does cybersecurity work? If you're going into other portions of tech, how does tech work? What do they do? What's the landscape? What's the best place? That's a business tactic. Location. Where's the best place to go to work in tech? People might have said Silicon Valley, but maybe you might go to Austin now. Huh? And, these type of things. You have to know these things so that you can be actually wanted and coveted and actually get the money and the treatment that you deserve. But I don't think that that's being taught no more.
I wish they would teach in school instead of the practical application of math and science, and all that stuff is needed and necessary, but a little more lifestyle.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
How do you balance a checkbook? How do you save?
Yeah.
I mean, really, how do you save for your future? You have to have a little safety net because let's say that you are let go because you are aged out, right? Or you are you don't have the skill set to help the company grow, as you said. What do? You have to have a little safety net of some money that is going to sustain you. I think they say for at least 2 months to get you by to pay your bills. So saving is
6
so
months at
important.
this point.
But how do you save anymore? I mean, like Apple savings. I mean, at least you're getting some money back on your money.
Yeah.
But I mean, a regular bank, what do you'll get interest 78 cents or something ridiculous.
0.01%.
Right. Why don't they teach that in school? Is that it is a necessary thing that you need to do to prepare for life.
When someone tells you that they're afraid to make that decision or to stand up for themselves because they're afraid of losing their job, do you talk to them about that, like savings? Are you prepared? Do you have anything saved? Are you prepared?
Yes.
You had that discussion?
Well, and one of the chapters at the end of the book, I talk about how important it is to have some kind of safety net because I didn't have one. Mm. And I was terrified of losing my job because I had 2 kids and it was around 2008 and things were looking bad and it was tough. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Thank God I had a friend who lent me some money to get me through until I got another job. But that's when I decided that in the book I needed to talk about finance, that you have to prepare yourself. I think it was when I turned 43, my mother, love her, she said, do you have an IRA? Do you have any money saved? And I was like, oh, I'll have to work on that, because it's so expensive.
It was
right?
just a couple
How
of
do you
years
put
ago, so
money
you should be
aside?
fine now.
I'm quite fine. I have a very lucrative business, and we just sold my husband's cybersecurity company, and
Congratulations.
a few years ago. Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, it's fun.
So
It's
it's
fun.
funny. So you got into cybersecurity because of your husband? Because I know you
No.
had a nice little round robin of careers.
I did.
So you went from that from the news, real estate, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Producing things of that nature. So how do you use that bevy of experiences to help people in your consulting?
I take the personal stories, I take what I've been through, and I share with them, this is going to happen in some way, shape, or form. You're going to come across this, because we all do. And when you are confronted with this, you have to prepare yourself to know how to answer it and be the professional. You can't start crying. Some of the women feel that they want to cry when they're being told, you're not good enough, or you didn't do a good job, or we lost the sale because of you. And I've had people in the boardroom say, I started tearing up, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's a no. You do not cry. What you do is say, excuse me, I need to run to the restroom, and then you go to the restroom, go cry in the bathroom, put some water on your face, not too much, you don't want to wreck your makeup, get back in there, and realize that you have to dissect what's going on. You have to find out get to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
And then to understand it, because it may not be you. Half of the time that people create these situations come from insecure people.
Yeah. So it sounds like you married to a phenomenal gentleman.
I got so lucky. He's a great guy.
So what's one of the best lessons that you've learned from him business-wise that you take into your own practice?
Accountability. 100% accountability, because I wasn't taking accountability in some of the careers that I've had. I didn't even think to do it. I would come up with an excuse, not even knowing I was giving myself an excuse. And he would turn to me, and in my consulting gig, he'd be like, no, you need to take accountability. And I'm like, what do you mean? I am taking accountability. No, you're not. And he would point out that I wasn't. And then
did you make him sleep on the couch afterwards?
I would reluctantly say a few days later, after he slept on the couch. He doesn't sleep on the couch, but in the other room, in the guest room.
It's I'm glad again hearing about your relationship, and these I've met so many power couples, and it can work, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, it can work.
Absolutely.
You can have a husband that will support you in your endeavors, ladies. It's not something that's a myth.
Right.
You have a living proof right here, someone who's getting the support that she needs, and she's now a phenomenal author, and about to be a 2-time author. Well, 3, because you about to do the other book. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for everything that you're doing, and it's much needed. Especially, I hope you guys are working with these children, especially the ones coming out of college.
Absolutely.
And just getting them prepared, because I think the best protection is
Young
prevention.
professionals.
And so being like, we want to come once the assault already happened. Like, I like protection by prevention. How can we get you to sidestep all these hurdles? I went through 100 hurdles. I fell over everything. I'm going to teach you how to avoid the potholes. And these kids are going into the workplace. One of the things I hate is that they keep telling them not to go to work. I'm like, that's one of the biggest things about growing a business. You guys just sold a company. You guys had employees, right?
Oh, yes.
Exactly. So, like, businesses don't grow without employees.
No,
you can
to collaborate.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, somebody has to work for somebody, and everybody doesn't have that gene. Your husband's in the military or was in the military. I do believe that you can go to boot camp and become an entrepreneur, but you have to go to boot camp. Everybody's not born with it. Yes, you can go to boot camp, but everybody don't need to. If all of us are performing, who's going to pay to see the show? And that's what I always try to find out. So some of these kids have to go and work, and they're going to be in these environments. And what are we doing to say, hey, when you get in these environments, if this looks like this, go the opposite way. So you have children. How did you use this on your kids?
Quite recently, my oldest is an attorney in California, and he works for a company where they do personal injury. And they, it's a grind, apparently. I mean, and most people call, and they're angry. I need to get my check. I was in an accident. And sometimes they're not kind. And I told my son, I said, look, you have to set up your boundaries. You can't permit people to just unleash on you like that, because that sets off your adrenaline. So I try to give both my oldest and my youngest the tools to know that if something happens like this where you're being treated unkindly, you have to not be afraid. Don't be in fear. Say something.
Yeah.
Do something. Let them know, I'm sorry, this is unacceptable. I'm sorry, I understand that you're enraged. I understand that you need money. I am doing the best job that I can for you. And in order to do that, I need you to remain calm. I need you to understand that this is a process, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I know that firsthand. I wasn't a lawyer, but I shot forensic photography years ago for personal injury attorneys. And if somebody's in a bad accident, they don't want to, you're a photographer, try to take pictures of their accident, of their wounds and things of that nature. And they're just pissed off. And, I've been to hospitals and I've been at workplaces. Somebody got their hand almost cut off. And they're not in the space where they want to be patient. You get images, but we're trying to help you get your money. Because back in those days, they didn't trust cameras, phones, because, easily doctored. Now, you don't know what's real now with AI, but back in those days, they wanted a professional to take the images and everything like that. So I totally understand that, and then talking to the lawyers, oh, she cursed me out yesterday. So listen, everybody's going through it. Yeah. The lawyers, the regular corporate people, everybody's going through it. But you are going to solve this problem one client at a time, one cohort at a time. I want you to look into your camera. First of all, I want to thank you for stopping by.
Oh, thank you, Jay. I really appreciate you having me.
No problem. As I said, you're upgrading us. But I want you to give some words of encouragement to the people, whomever you want to speak to. You want to speak to the people that's in the law firms, high rises, or somebody that's in one of these casinos. Tell them something that can get them through the rest of the day.
If you're ever ambushed or somebody comes at you in your personal life, in your professional life, just remember that you need to take a breath before you respond, think about it, and if you don't have an answer, just simply say to them, I'll get back to you on that, or simply say to them, I'm sorry that this is uncomfortable for you, and I'm sorry you're having a hard time with whatever the issue is, but maybe we should come and revisit it in a little while, and just take a breath and see if you can resolve it in a adult manner.
Yes, please remain adults in the process. One other thing, I'll ask you to go ahead and leave your social media website, how they can get your book. Please, if you any information.
You. So if you go to assuredbook.com, that's just that book right after assuredbook.com. You can go in and you can go under the chapters and you can listen to the book for free. You can also download the book for free. And as soon as it is published out of the advanced author's copy, then it will be for sale. But until then, I'm giving it to friends and colleagues and people that, to help promote it. Mm-hmm. So there's an audiobook or an ebook.
I love it. You guys make sure you go ahead and support. If you're paying attention here, we definitely have all that stuff on the screen so that you don't have to go and find it. It's right there for you. You have a social media that you want to give them? They can connect with you?
Like a Twitter account? Or
LinkedIn, Twitter, anything?
LinkedIn. It's just Jody Mack on LinkedIn.
Okay. That means she's very professional. She don't want to deal with people on Instagram and all that other stuff like that. Go to LinkedIn, for real business, book her business or get her book. Go ahead. She's giving it away free right now. But by the time you guys get this, probably can go ahead and go pay. And if that happens, make sure you get it to me so I can go ahead and put the.
I will. As a matter of fact, I'll send you the book once we have the final. As soon as it's launched, which should be another 2.5 months.
And also the information so we can go ahead and put the like your website and all that other stuff so you can go ahead and get the book.
I will.
We want to make sure you support it. You're part of the family
awesome.
now.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
part of the family now.
Thank you.
She's part of the family. Guys, you already know how to stay in contact with me, jhaleem.com. I am J Haleem on all social media platforms, as well as if you go to YouTube right now, I want you to go ahead and smash the like button if you're watching this. Click the notification bell. Subscribe In the Studio with J Haleem on YouTube. Go on Instagram, In the Studio with J Haleem. Be a part of our family. Know what's going on every single day. Share it with somebody who you might need to feel like you need to hear about this. Maybe you're going through it. Share it with somebody. Don't just be so selfish. Share it with somebody so they can go ahead and get some relief as well. But if you want to find me, you know where to find me. Right back here next week in the studio. Talk to you soon. Peace.